life is not happening to you. Life is happening through you and for you. Now, most of us have been raised with this concept, this idea, this conditioning that we are powerless, we are hopeless, we are broken beings that are in need of a savior, in need of fixing, in need of something outside of ourselves to save us from this terrible world that we are inflicted with. However, in truth, that could be true. As a matter of fact, anything could be true. Anything that you choose to be your reality will be your reality. As a person thinketh within their heart, within their mind, so will they become. That is the ultimate truth. Therefore, if you believe that you are powerless, you believe that you are hopeless, you believe that you need a savior, then that is what your reality will imprint as. That's what your reality will manifest as. So for most of us, if we are just willing to kind of go by and not really challenge the belief systems that we were raised upon, the beliefs of others around us, we're just going to accept the reality that we were handed, then we will always feel powerless. We will always feel as if things are just happening to us. Life is just happening to us, that we have no control over anything. Right? And your world will start to show itself as that. That's how powerful our beliefs are. Life will show itself as this mere happening, and we will fall into the delusion and the illusion that we are not in control of this entire experience. Now, before I get too deep into this, I do want to say that when I speak of control, I'm not speaking of the necessary control that we as humans have come to accept. I'm not talking about control from fear, trying to manipulate an external circumstance. What I'm speaking of is internal control. The first place that begins is the control of our very own thoughts. Most of us have a belief that we cannot control our thoughts, therefore we cannot control our emotions. We believe that thoughts and emotions are merely happening to us. Therefore, we are reactive to life. We are not responsive to the things of life. We look at life as something that we must combat or go against. We look at our own bodies as something that we must fight and protect ourselves from. And therefore, we look at life as something to protect ourselves from, when in reality, we are manifesting the very thing that we call life. We are creating the situations and circumstances of our life through our own thoughts. And if we were not in control of our thoughts, if we could not change the paradigm that we see the world from, if we couldn't change the basis of our thoughts, then we would absolutely be out of control. We would have no control in this life. However, that is not true. It is a falsehood. In fact, every single one of us has the autonomous, God-given, universe-given right to create our very own lives through our thought process, which then becomes our emotional process, which then becomes emotion, energy, and motion, our actions into life. And even deeper than that, the circumstances and the situations that we attract are only reflections of what we are being at an emotional level, at an energetic, vibrational level. Like, I'm not trying to get too woo-woo or too deep for you right now, but these are things that we should be taught in elementary school. Like, we should have an understanding. As a matter of fact, as children, we have an understanding of this, right? We have a clear-cut understanding, but we don't know how to articulate it. Then we're stripped of that understanding. We're stripped of that power source within us. We're stripped from going within. And instead, we go outside of ourselves seeking answers, seeking solutions, seeking life, right? And so for me, it is of the utmost importance that we understand the fundamentals, that the universe speaks a language called frequency, energy, vibration, whatever you want to call it. It is the very same thing, the very same substance. And we experience it as humans as emotion. Where our emotions lay about something is the very same thing we attract. So most of us think to ourselves, I'm doing the work, right? I'm doing the affirmations, I'm doing the confirmations, the sustenance, and this nation and that nation, but nothing is working for me, or things are getting even worse. And now let me tell you this. You don't attract what you want or what you desire. You attract what you are. That doesn't mean if you are, if you are 7 foot, you're a 7 foot basket weaver, you're going to attract 7 foot basket weavers. That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean by you attract what you are is you attract what you are energetically. Whatever you emit through your own energy, your emotion, energy and motion, That vibration that you're giving off is what you bring back to yourself. So most people will say, I'm a millionaire, or I'm wealthy, but their true emotion, their true vibration they're giving off is one of lack. Therefore, they continue to attract lack to themselves. If they are honest about their actual thoughts, which is the images playing in their heads, they see images of lack when they think about money, when they think about provision, when they think about wealth. And so, if you start to be honest with yourself about your own thoughts, you will start to see that your emotions are reflecting a different story than you might want to accept is your reality right now. And for us to kind of start auditing or taking inventory of where our emotions truly are, if we're disconnected from our emotions, we can just look at our lives. Like, look at your bank account and it's going to tell you your beliefs about money. It's not the government's fault. It's not the big business fault. It's not your employer's fault. It's not your employee's fault. It is your own belief system that has manifested as your life. That's going to be your bank account. And this coming from somebody who, at one point in time, I looked in there and there was either overdrafts or there was pennies in the bank account. And I was looking at it as if something was happening to me. This was a challenge and a test from the universe, when in truth, I had a scarcity mentality. I had blocks around my belief around deservedness, right? Around abundance, around there being enough. And therefore, my world was a projection of that belief. And so when you start to look at your life, if you continue to attract situations to yourself that are fear-based, you will see exactly that, fear-based situations. If you are somebody who dwells within paranoia, you will get more situations, circumstances, and interactions to be paranoid about. Like, there are stories upon stories upon stories beside the evidence that's already been shown through science and quantum physics and physics itself, is that there's stories like this woman who used to collect all these articles of break-ins and people being ex-nayed in their own house, etc. She collected hundreds of these articles. And then eventually this woman was actually ex-nayed in her own house during a robbery. And what happened was the investigators went through the house and they found this collection of hundreds of articles that she had collected. This woman had attracted this very incident into her life. Now, most people might not be collecting, situations and circumstances in newspapers, magazines, whatever, but you're doing it in your own mentality. You are collecting these stories in your own consciousness. You're entertaining fear-based stories. You're entertaining fear-based scenarios, entertaining fear-based energy perpetually, consistently. You're feeding yourself fear. And so your life becomes an attraction, a magnet of fear-based situations, circumstances, and interactions. I'm not saying this like a pastor saying it on the top of a pulpit or whatever it may be. I'm saying this as you, as your brother right now. I'm saying this as my own life experience. I have seen things in my life manifest so fast that I can't even ignore it. And I've also seen things manifest over time that when I truly look back, I realize exactly why I'm in the predicament that I'm in now. Because I continue to entertain those thoughts, I continue to entertain those emotions, and I did not check them. I did nothing about it, and so it manifested in my life, right? Oh man, you think to yourself every single day, oh man, I hope I don't get evicted. I hope I don't get evicted. Oh man, what a da da da. If you continue to engage or emotionalize that thought, don't be surprised when you get an eviction notice. And most people get an eviction notice and blame it on circumstance. They blame it on the external. They want to blame it on somebody else or something else, not truly coming to the truth, which you know and I know, because this is universal principle. It's built into our DNA. You know that the reason why that eviction notice got posted is because that was your focus. That was your complete and utter attention. You weren't focused on abundance while you were thinking about losing your home. You weren't focused on, enrichment. You weren't focused on the mass of life, on the growth and the expansion of life. You were focused on scarcity. You were focused on not enough. You were focused on an eviction. And to really understand this at a depth, you must also understand that, again, the universe doesn't speak language. It doesn't speak like English, Mandarin, Swahili. The universe speaks in vibration and frequency. So the frequency we're giving off is what we're attracting back to us. So in the example of the eviction, even if you're not thinking about an eviction, if every day you're focused on lack, every day you're focused on not enough, every day you're focused on poverty based mentality, a poverty based emotional state, you will continue to attract to yourself bank balances with zero, bank balances with withdrawals. You'll have debt manifesting in your life. You'll get a little bit of money, and all of a sudden an emergency pops up. That's why I don't even like using the word like emergency fund. I say a replenishing fund. Because even that thought process ends most people up in an emergency where they got to use all that money. That is the power of our thoughts. Our thoughts are interacting with the universal field, bringing about the very lives that we live. And yet we're sitting over here with our tongue out, with our thumb scrolling all on the internet, thinking to ourselves, oh, nothing is happening. Nothing is like all this content that I'm consuming right now is not really doing anything to my mind. I'm okay. I'm fine. I can just continue to consume garbage in, garbage in, garbage in, and my life will be perfectly orchestrated. I will continue to attract abundance. I'll continue to attract beautiful relationships. I'll continue to attract a wonderful career, a fulfilling life, a beautiful friendship group, or whatever it may be, even though I'm feeding my mind the very opposite. Like, what do you expect? I gotta be real with y'all. Like, my whole thing is about I want to be honest with anybody that I interact with, anybody I engage with. I'll be as honest as I can in that moment. Why? Because I expect life to meet me with honesty. And life met me with honesty by telling me or showing me my truth time and time again, showing me the power of my word, the power of my thought, the power of my emotion and my intention, which really tie all in together. The power of what I'm projecting into the universe. If I'm doing something, but I'm doing it from a scarcity mentality, like let's say if I'm working hard, but I'm doing it with a fear of losing things, then I'm not going to attract or manifest abundance just because I'm doing the work. That's why a lot of people, when they hear this phrase, do what you love and the money will follow, they think it's BS because they don't understand energy. When you do what you love, you're in a frequency of love. You're in a frequency of abundance. You're in a frequency of more than enough. You're tapped in with source. You're tapped in with a universal principle. And therefore, you're going to manifest those very things into your life. But if you do something you hate, but you think you're going to make money from it, just because it's a job in finance don't mean you're going to get racked up. Like somebody who is, creating posters on Etsy is going to make more money than you in finance because they love what they're doing. Somebody who's literally weaving baskets, 7-foot basket weaver, is going to make more money than you are doing your job in tech because they love what they're doing. And yet we think it's unfair. We think it's unjust. We think it's the system. We blame it on, systemic issues, this, that, and the third. Cool. Blame it on what the heck you want for as long as you want. But at one point in time in your life, you're going to have to take responsibility for what is going on in your life. At some point in time, you're going to have to accept the God-given truth, the universal principle, the truth of the very existence we live, that your thoughts turn into things, that life is not happening to you, it is happening through you and for you. Your wish is always going to be your command.